Hey Flutter developers, welcome back to our Flutter and Firebase Mastery series here on Baloch Dev YouTube channel. I am Noman Nisar, and if you are just joining us, you haven't missed much. Today we are diving into part 2 where we will start building the user application's user interface. It's about to get exciting. Now let's jump into our code. As you can see, I have already created a Flutter project. For now, you are just getting the default Flutter demo application, which is basically the counter application. So first off, let's enhance our home screen. I want to make it visually appealing and user friendly. So in this video, we will be just adding the theme into our this application. So we will be just implementing this switch. When user clicks on this, user can be able to switch to dark mode and the light mode. So let's begin by just creating a switch into our home screen. So I will be just deleting all uh, these demo codes for now, so I'll be just erasing it, uh, deleting it from here, and I will be just creating my own home screen. So here on the left directory I will be just creating a new directory which will be our screens. So all the screens related codes will be stored in this directory. So here I'll be just creating a new directory, and I'll be just right clicking on it, and now I'll be just creating a new file, basically new dart file, which will be home page.dart. And here I'll be just creating a stateful widget, and I'll be just naming it home page. And now I will be just adding a simple scaffold here, and for now I will be just saving this, and I will be just calling it into my this main.dart page. And great, we have just got a blank screen on our emulator. So now we will be just moving to our home page again, and now we will be just heading a switch, and the switch button where user can toggle between dark mode and the light mode. So for now we will be just heading the switch button where user can toggle between the into the dark mode and into the light mode. So we will be just adding this switch button into our home screen. So for that we will be just using the column widget here in the body of our scaffold, which will be a column widget. And as you know that column is a multi-layout widget, so we just need the children property of it, and inside the children property we will be just adding the switch less tile into it. So we will be just adding this, and now it is giving us some kind of error, so we will be just removing this const from here. And now for now we will be just adding an empty function on the onChanged, and here we will be just adding a value basically. So basically the value requires a boolean, so I have just added false for now, and I will be just saving this. And we have just got a switch on the top. So for now I'll be just making it uh, on the center of the screen. For that I'll be just using our main axis alignment and the main axis alignment dot center. And here you go, now our this switch is on the center of our screen. So we just need a title for it for now, so I'll be just giving it a title which will be the text widget, and in the text widget theme. So yeah, we have got our this switch button and our home screen. So now we will be just implementing the functions for it. When user clicks on this, it should be toggle between dark and the light mode. So for that we just need to use two packages. So when user change the theme, as the value of the theme should be stored in our local storage, and we just need the state management to manage the theme of our application. So for that we will be just adding a shared preferences package and the provider state management. So we just need to add both packages in our pubspec.yaml file. So I'll be just going to pub.dev and search for shared preferences and the our provider state management. So I'll be just copying this from here, and now I'll just paste it under this, and here you go. Now I'll be just copying this shared preferences also, and now I'll be just pasting it here. And when I just save this, how this package will be just installed in our project. So let's just wait while it just give code 0. It means that our packages are installed in our this project. So that's it, we are done by installing our packages, provider state management, and the local storage, which is shared preferences. So first of all we just need to set the basic colors for our this project. So we will be just moving and using the same pattern of colors and maintaining the theme of our application. So I have already just created a const directory and added the colors of my application. So in our this application, we will be just maintaining our code, and we will be just structuring our this code in a well organized way. So now I will be just creating and designing the theme data into my this const directory. So here I'll be just right clicking on the const directory, and now I'll be just creating a new dart file. So here I will be just creating a new dart file which will be styles.dart, or you can just name it theme.dart, theme data.dart. And yeah, I will be just now creating a basic and simple class which will be class, and the name will be styles. And now here I will be just uh, creating a basic theme data from which we can just switch to dark and light mode. So for that I will be just defining the theme data and the scaffold background color. When it is dark mode, so it should the color should be changed, and if it is in light mode then the color should be changed. So yeah, let's just begin by that. So I will be just using the static. When we use static, so we will be just able to use this class data to another class. This is a basic and simple OOP concept. So that's the reason we just use this static. So I'll be just calling my theme data now, and I'll be just creating an instance of theme data, and now I will be just adding some parameters into my this theme data which will be required. So whenever I call this style and the theme data, so I just need to pass some things into it, into this parameter. So we will be just adding a boolean variable, so which will be is dark theme. So we will be just checking it if it is dark theme or not. So we will be just maintaining our screen in that way. So I'll be just also adding the context. So we will be just requiring the build context also, which will be build context and the context. And here now I will just return the theme data basically. And inside the theme data, I will be just defining my scaffold background color, and now when the theme is in dark modes, the color of our escapefold background color should be darker, and if it is in the light mode, so it should be the light one. So for that I just need to add some conditions. So I'll be just checking if it is in dark mode. So let's just change the color of our scaffold background. So for that I will be just doing that is dark mode, and I'll be just using this question. So it means it is true. So if it is true, then the color should be app colors. So we have just defined it in our that app colors class. So I will be just accessing the dark scaffold color. So else if it is in the light mode, so just use the light scaffold color, which will be this. And great, now I will be just defining the card colors also in our application. So we will be just using the cards. If the card is in dark mode, so change the color, and if it is in the light mode, so just use the light color. So for that we will be just using the card color. And the same way I will be just also checking the condition if this dark theme is true, so use this color. So here I will be just using some custom colors, which will be from ARGB, and here in the A section I will be just using 255, and the R will be 13. Basically R is red, G is green, and B is blue. So I will be just adding some custom colors here. So that's it. Now I'll be just adding a const keyword here to remove the warnings. And now if it is in the light mode, then just use the light card color from our app colors class basically. So that's it. Now I'll be just saving this from here, and here I just need to use the semicolon. And the last I will be just using the brightness, and I'll be just checking the condition again if the dark theme is true, so just make the brightness to dark, and if it is false, then just make the brightness to light to just switch the theme into dark and the light mode. Brightness to right, that's it. Now I'll be just saving this from here, and now we will be just calling this theme data into our main.dart. But before that I will be just storing the user value when it is true and when it is false. So it should be just stored in our shared preferences. So whenever this app is closed and restarted, so the value should be saved and value should be fetched accordingly. So if user has switched to the dark mode and the closes the application and reopens it again, so the application should be in the dark state. So for that we will be just using our shared preferences and the our provider to manage the state basically. So for that we will be just using our code in our new directory. This time we will be just managing and adding a new directory in the name of providers. So all the providers related or state management related codes will be stored in our this directory basically. So here in the provider directory, now I will be just creating a new dart file, which will be theme provider, theme provider dart, and that's it. Now I will be just creating a class theme provider. Basically I'll be just naming it theme provider, and here we will be just using the change notifier to just use the change notifier function to update our this screen when any of the value changes. So if this theme value changes, so we will be just updating the user interface also. So here we will be just using with change notifier. That's it. Here now we will be just creating two functions. One to set our theme when user just change it into the light mode, so we will just save the value into our shared preferences. And now we just need to create a function for that, so we will be just creating a future function to store our value into the shared preferences. So it will be a future and the type will be the void, and I'll be just naming it set dark theme, and I'll be just adding some kind of uh, parameters into it, and I'll be just making this required. So whenever this set theme is called, so it is required to give it a theme value basically. So whenever I will be just calling this set theme, set dark theme, so I'll be just adding a value into it. So here I'll be just adding a bool and the theme value, and I'll be just uh, making this async function. So I'll be just using the async keywords. So as you know that it's a future function, so we just need to use the async and the await keywords in our future functions. When user just clicks on this toggle button and it is being saved into the shared preferences or in our local storage, it usually takes some seconds sometimes, so we just need to make our function await for some seconds. So for that we will be using async and the await function, await keywords basically. So to just store the value in our shared preferences, we just need to create an instance of our shared preferences first. So we will be just creating the instance of shared preferences. For that, we will be just writing shared preferences, and here when I just click on that, so the library or the package is automatically imported. So here now I'll be just creating the instance. In my case I'll be just naming it preps, and I'll just make it await for some times, and now I'll be just using the shared preferences and get instance. And that's it. I have just created the shared preferences instance for my set dark theme function. And now using this instance I'll be just setting my saving my this value or theme into the local storage. So here I'll just need to set bool, and now it requires a key and the value. So basically the key which we use for saving the value, it should be the same while we are getting it back from the shared preferences. So I will be just saving the key in a separate variable, so we can just be able to get it back uh, the theme from the shared preferences. So I'll be just storing it, and in my case it will be the static const and the theme status, and the value will be theme status. And that's it. Now I'll just provide this key here, and now I'll just provide this theme value here. Great. Now we are just done by just saving whatever value we will be just getting by the user side whenever we call this set dark theme, and we will be just getting the value from there, and we will just save that value into our shared preferences basically. And now we just need to store this value in the dark into a variable, so we can just get it. For that I will be just creating a boolean variable, and I'll be just naming it dark theme, and initially I'll be just making it false. And now as you know that we have just used this underscore here, it means that now it is a private variable. So whenever we just need to get it into the another class, So we just need to make the getter function of it. So for that we will be just using bool get to create a getter function for this variable. So we need to use this get keyword, and now I'll be just using get is dark theme, and I'll be just using this arrow function and return this dark theme. And great, now we are done. So as you know that we are just getting some kind of warning, so I'll be just using uh, the quick fix to just make it final, and our warning is removed, and great, that's it. So now we will be just storing this value, whatever value we will be just getting from the user side. So we will be just storing it into our this dark theme variable basically. So we will be just storing the theme value here. So as we know that we have just made that final, so now it's giving us error, so the final fields cannot be set here. So we will be just removing that final again to just remove our this error. And now the last, whenever this failure is set or this function is called, all the functions, all the uh, job is done. So now just refresh the screen. So in our provider we will be just using the notify listener to just refresh the screen. So that's it, we have just created the set dark theme and save it into our shared preferences function. And yeah, now we will be just creating a function, and we will be just getting the value of the theme basically from the shared preferences. So for that we will be just creating a future function again, and this time it will be type of bool, and I'll be just naming it get theme. As you know, it is our future function. We will be just using the async keyword here, and now we also need to create the instance of our shared preferences to get the value from our local storage. So I'll be just copying it from there, and I'll be just pasting it on my this get theme function. And now again I will be just calling my this variable and storing the value we will be just getting it from our shared preferences. So here we will be just calling this instance, and now we will be just using get bool, and now we just need the key basically on which key we have just saved the value. We will be just accessing that from that value. So I have just stored our key in a variable, so I'll be just using that. So we also need to just check it if this is null. So let's just make the value false for that, so we can just uh, not get any kind of error if it is null basically. So now we will be just refreshing the screen again by using the notify listener, and now we just need to return something. So we will be just returning this dark theme basically. That's it. Now I have just created my this theme provider class to just manage the theme and save it in our local storage. So great, now I will be just going back to my home screen again, and now I will just pass actual value here in my switch list style basically. So now I will be just giving the title dynamically. So now in this text widget I just want to get the functions or the methods from this class. So to access all of these functions into my home page, so we just need to create an instance of our provider, this theme provider class into our home dot. So for that I will be just doing it. So here we will be just creating the final, and now I'll be just creating an instance of my theme provider class that I'll be just naming it theme provider. and I'll just call my this provider package basically, and I'll be just using the of context of this. And now the class we just want to use, we need to provide it here, and now I'll be just providing it, which is basically a theme provider. And that's it. I'll be just, so as you know that it requires a context, so we will be just calling it inside of our this build, so we just get the context, and that's it. Now I'll be just accessing my this theme provider class functions by using the instance of theme provider. So now in the title I'll be just getting the title on the basis of the variable which we have just created here. So if it is true, it means it is the dark mode. So if it is false, it means that it is in the dark light mode basically. So we will be just doing that on the basis of that boolean variable. So we will be just getting it in get is dark theme. So if it is true, so we will show the dark mode, and if it is false we will show the light mode basically. And great, now I'll just save this and we will be just getting this error. So we have not just called our theme provider into our main.dart, so we just need to inform the application or the projects that we are just using the provider or the change notifier. So we just need to provide the notifier in our main.dart, so we will be just doing that first. So we will be just moving to the main.dart. So now we just need to wrap our all this material app in under the multi-provider. So we will be just cutting this material app from here, and now we just need to use the multi-provider here, which will be multi provider, and we just need to provide all the providers which providers we are using basically. Whenever we create a new provider class, we just need to provide it into our main.dart. So for now we have just created a theme provider. Now I will be just providing this theme provider into my this multi-provider class. So as you know that it is less, so we will be just providing it, we can just provide it multiple providers into it. So now I'll be just using the change provider. So now we just need to provide our theme class here in the change notifier provider, so I'll be just providing that. So here now I'll be just using this context and the hero function, and I'll just call my that theme provider basically, the class which we have just created. And that's it, I have just called my theme provider, and now we have just informed our application that we are using this theme provider in our project. So great, now when I just said this, now our error is something else basically. So we just now need to provide the material app which we have just cut a second ago. So now we will be just providing the material into it. So now when we just need to uh, refresh our screen while the value changes, so for that we just need to use the consumer class of our provider to change or refresh or rebuild the screen on the basis of value changes. So for that I'll be just using the consumer, and this consumer requires a builder basically, so we will be just providing it. So now this consumer class also need the class name, which class data we just want to access. So we will be just providing the theme provider basically. That's it. Now I'll be just changing this value, so we are getting basically the theme provider value, so I'll be just naming it theme provider. And now here we will be just returning the material help, so we have just cut that before. So now I'll just save this again, and our error is basically solved and gone. So now in the theme data, we just need to access our theme provider class data basically to set the theme into dark and the light mode. So for that, I'll be just calling my that theme data class basically, which we have just created in our const file, which was theme data. So I'll be just calling that in my main.dart. So I'll be just cutting this theme data from here basically. And now we will be just calling the theme data, which we have just created on our const directory. The class name was styles, and I'll just import it, and now I will just able to access the theme data basically. So here I'll be just using this comma, and now we will be just using the condition and using this theme provider basically. So now we will be just accessing the functions of this theme provider. On the basis of that, we will be just changing our theme. So we will be just getting get is dark theme true or false, so we will be just accessing that value basically. So yeah, now we will be just done, and whenever this value will be true, the theme will changes into the and to accordingly to dark and to light mode basically. So that's it, I'm done in the main.dart, and now I'll be just moving to my home page again, and now I'll be just setting the value and the onChanged function here. So now we will be just getting the value basically using our this instance which we have just created, and the value will be coming from get is dark theme, and now we will be just creating the value accordingly, and when a user switches this, so we will be just making this false, and if this is off, so we will be just making and change bring some changes accordingly. So now I'll be just calling my this theme provider again, and this time I'll be just setting the value. So basically we will be just doing this whenever this changes, so this switch list tile value changes, we will be just providing that value into our this set dark theme, and this the value will be saved in our local storage basically. So we will be just providing this value into it, and that's it. And that's it. Now I'll be just saving this again, and now when I just click here, so it is not working as expected. So I'll be just going back to my theme provider class and check what we have just uh, done wrong. So yeah, we have just not called the theme provider constructor basically. So I'll be just calling that, which will be theme provider, and here we will be just calling our get theme. So I'll just restart my application first. So as you see, we are just getting an error, unhandled exception, missing plugin exception, no implementation found for method get all. So we just installed the shared preferences, but we have not rebuilt all the application. So for that, we will be just killing our application and rerunning it again to just install our packages on our emulator. So after reinstalling the application or rerunning the application, it will work. So let's just wait and see. And as you see that we have integrated the theme basically, when we just click on this switch button, it just switches accordingly into the dark mode and into the light mode. As you can see, we have started laying the foundation for our user applications user interface, but this is just the beginning. In the upcoming parts, we will delve deeper into creating specific features like product lists, shopping carts, and more. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any part of this exciting series. Also, if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comment below. Get ready for an epic journey of Flutter and Firebase mastery. I'll catch you in the next part where we will continue building our e-commerce application from scratch. Until then, stay happy, stay fit, and happy fluttering.